Therefore, in tantric commitments, when you reach a tantric level where you can get one of the Maha Anuttara Yoga Tantras, example Vajrayogini, example Hiruka or Chakra Sambhara or Kala Chakra, if you can receive one of those initiations, there are certain commitments that go along with that. For example, holding one's 3 sets of vows. The Mahayana and the Bodhisattva vows, along with the Hinayana vows. When you hold your vows and you do your daily sadhana commitments, and you do your tok. Once you have those, once you take a Maha Anuttara Yoga initiation, and you hold your vows, you do your sadhana, it is a transformation. It is a method for you to transform your whole reality. I read up on Tantra these past few days, and increased faith was gained in me, more, even a little bit more knowledge. I don't have much, but more, it increased. And when we hold our Tantra commitments, such as our tok commitments, and we do it in a group, it's very transformational. And to have any priorities or commitments more important than one's tantric practice, one's tantric vows and sadhana and tok. Anything more than that, it is invalid already. Because within the Buddhistic practice, tantric commitments are the highest. That is why you learn them last. That's why Vajradhara appears to you secretly later. Shakyamuni appears first. So those of us who have tantric initiations of the tantric nature, holding our vows, doing our sadhanas, and doing our tok, is of the utmost importance. If you are substituting that with any other practice, it is wrong. Wrong. If you want to add if you want to have any other practice, that can be added to it, but the priority must be Tantra. Why? Why? Some of us may say that, oh, I wasn't ready when I took it, I didn't understand. But that's not the Buddha's fault. That's your own fault. So you have to work together with it. That's what Geshe Tsurim Gyaltsen said in America. He said we should practice Sutra and Tantra simultaneously because life is short and too much distractions. Well, life now and life 100 years ago and 200 years ago is pretty much the same, up to about 80 years. But what he meant by that was now we have more distractions, much more distractions. So therefore, to put away our tantric commitments to the side and to substitute that with another practice, to say that that's more important, that is absolutely wrong. That is absolutely wrong. How can we go to the top of the stairs and we're about to enter the door to enlightenment, and then we say, oh, no, I don't want to walk the next step. I want to go backwards and walk here again and then walk back up again. Ridiculous. If we wish to take tantric empowerments, some of us have, you have to understand, go all the way with it. Practice it all the way. Go all the way. And don't make any other priorities more important than your tantric commitments. I did that when I was in the United States. When I was in my late teens, 18, 19, 20, 21, I would work 6 days a week, well, 5.5 days a week. And then I would do, that time I did a Vajrayogini retreat. And that Vajrayogini retreat took me a year to finish 100,000, where it normally takes maybe a month, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, depending on your practice. It took me 1 year to finish that. And I had to do that every single day. And every day, the sessions were maybe 1 hour because I really was working very hard. And I also worked for the center. I lived at the center. I cleaned the meditation rooms. I put the cushions back. I washed the dishes. I did geshe-la, my guru's laundry. I swept. I cleaned. I was happy to do it because there's no other way I can give back to the kindness of my guru. No other way. I wasn't paid for it. I was never paid for anything at the center. And so therefore, I had to take care of the center. I was honored to. And I had to clean and cook and all that. And on top of that, I had to attend the classes, which I was very happy to. And I never missed tok. Never. There were times I wanted to, but I never missed it. And if I missed it, I did it myself. I learned how to do it myself perfectly. I didn't wait for someone to teach me. I learned it myself perfectly. Why? It's not about what other people think about me. It's about my commitment with my guru and my yidam. And I would do my tok. I would do my retreats. And it took me a year to finish, because I can just do 1 session a day instead of the 4 normal sessions. And on weekends, I spent more time, Sundays. But on Saturdays, even though it was a half day, I still did my retreat and I still had a good time. Let me make a confession here. Dear Buddha, I have sinned. I'd go out clubbing. I'm from Los Angeles, dear, not from the Himalayan backwaters of Tibet, where, the only fun is counting yaks from a hill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3,462 yaks. Let's go home. This is boring. I'm from Los Angeles, dearie. Los Angeles. The modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. I don't care where you're from. Some of you guys are Europeans or whatever. You think your cities are fabulous. No, 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 no. Los Angeles, my dear. And there, you know how many clubs? And when I was a teeny bopper, before 18, I go to the teeny bopper clubs. Coca-Cola and root beer, that was it. But it doesn't matter. And then when I reached 18, well, before 18, I borrowed my friend's identification. And trust me, I paid a heavy price to lie to them, to say, that's me, that's me. And I go into these clubs and have a great time. I didn't drink or do drugs or nothing like that, but everything else. But anyway, I won't tell you right now. I never took drugs. I never drink. I never smoke. I don't like it, but I also had vows. But I did everything else. I had a great time. It was the Calvin Klein days, where Brooke Shields would hang upside down and tell you, the only thing that would take me away from my Calvin Kleins is another pair. Hee hee. And I'm like, oh, how influential she was to all of us. And then there was, of course, Vidal Sassoon. But we didn't really wear that because that was a little girly. And of course, there was Gloria Vanderbilt. Do you remember her? Gloria Vanderbilt. Nobody wore that because nobody wanted to wear a swan. But anyways, it was the Vidal Sassoon days and Calvin Klein days. I don't know where I borrowed from my friends one of those designer jeans. And when you get ready, you actually lay down flat on the ground to zip it up. I did. I lay down flat to zip it up. And someone had to help you up. It's that tight. That was the era. And let me tell you, I was a 29 waist. I'm 29 and a half now. But anyways, I was a 29 waist. 29:34. That was my whatever. And I had a great time. So I had my friends all come over, and I asked them what I would wear. And I parade in and out of my closet and try all different kinds of outfits so I look great. And then we go out partying. We have a good time. Oh, there were so many clubs that fun. We go club hopping. We go to 4 or 5 clubs. I know this is a little sick. I'll be on the podium, doing mantras and visualize myself as some tantric deity and dancing, having a great time. I'll bless everybody here as a fantasy. I mean, it was an valid reason to have fun, so I wouldn't feel guilty. So can you imagine I was on a podium visualizing myself as Yamataka, blessing everybody here? See, it's a tantric reason I'm here. I fooled everybody but my guru. He looked at me as tantric, dearie, tantric. Geshe was very kind. He didn't openly say, he said, oh yes, tantric. Anyways, then I'd go home after the club. Yeah, I would literally go home. 3, 4 a.m., I crawl back home and I do one session of my Vajrayogini retreat. I set up the offerings, set up the sensory offerings, the tormas, everything. And I purify the room. I slide out of my Calvin Kleins. Literally slide out. Oh God, it was so, you had to lay down and unzip it. When you took it off, you could breathe. You were like, you can literally, that's the style that time. And dearie, I didn't have 1 ounce of fat on me at that time. Not 1 ounce. Not 1 ounce. So in any case, I slide out of my jeans. And then, in the 80s, it was hair. It was all hair. It was all about the hair. It would take me an hour to get ready for the hair. And it came out wrong. I'm not kidding. You sit there and blow dry. It was very long and be different colors. And you blow dry it this way, that way, this way, that way. And they'd be like, you look great. Like, I don't know, Duran, that kind of look? Or Adam Ant. It was all about the hair. So I come home, wash off all the hair products you put on there to keep it the way it looked. I mean, you look like crap, but your hair is still gray at night. And you come home, you wash all that crap out of your hair. You slide out of your jeans. And then you sit down and you try not to think about all the fun you had. And sometimes you're able to focus, and then I do my retreat. What am I trying to tell you? I'm the same as all of you. Exactly the same. I want to have a good time too. I had plenty of good times. And I did all the stuff that you guys did, probably more than some of you. But anyway, my point is I had a great time, but I still did my retreats. I still attended SOAP. I still worked. And I finished my retreat. It took me 1 year. Let me tell you, towards 6 or 7 months, I was like screaming. I was like, oh God, I wish I can finish. I wish I can finish. You know why? Let me tell you about those retreats. You have to do the practice exactly in the same seat that you started. You can't move the seat. You can't move to another area. And there are certain tormas that you need to put. For this practice, you can't even move the tormas. The tormas has to stay exactly. So when you clean, you got to clean around it. So your seat and your tormas have to be exactly the same. You can't move. And you have to do your practice on that seat. There's a reason for it. So you have to keep coming back. I can't do my practice. Sometimes we went to Long Beach, or sometimes we drove away to San Fernando Valley, or we drove away to Orange County, or wherever. There's 2-3 hours drive away with friends to go partying or funning or whatever, or have fun or whatever. And I would actually have to drive back. I didn't have money for taxis. I had to drive back or take a rotten 4 or 5 buses back, transfer, to come and do my retreat. And I had to do it on that seat. It took me a year. And sometimes I would resent it. Sometimes I'd go, oh God. You know, look at Vajrayogini, you want to take her neck. Oh. Yeah, I would think like that. I mean, I have just evil mind just as anybody else. I want to strangle her. I was like, why so many rules? Why don't you make it easy? I thought you were a Buddha. And sometimes you'd be really happy. Anyway, I finished it. I come back and do it. And you have to do 1 session before you fall asleep. You can do it 2 ways, either before 12, but I debated with my guru. I said, there's no clocks in Tibet. How do you know it's 12 o'clock? He said, yeah, don't ask me all kinds of stupid questions. Before you sleep. Did you have clocks in Tibet? It was my big issue. So I would do it before I slept. So sometimes before 6 a.m., before 7 a.m., sometimes before 9 a.m., because I crawled back home Sunday morning at 7 a.m. But I would do it. And that's how I did my Tara Chitamani retreat. That's how I did my Avalokiteshvara retreats. And I did the fire pujas with my teacher. The pressure was very great because sometimes Geshe-la would put actually a timing on when we would do the fire puja. The fire puja is the conclusion of the retreat. An offering, a celebration. Conclusion. And Geshe-la was very, very harsh to me. Now I know why when I mistook. Very, very harsh. I don't have the right to be harsh to anyone, and no one here has the right to be harsh to anyone. But we have to be careful with ourselves. But I have tremendous faith in my guru. So if he's harsh to me, it's a blessing. I don't lose confidence and faith. These days, if the guru gives you a slight wrathful look, the guru gets a slap. You mean you're not attending talk? No, and what are you going to do about it? Oops. Sorry, you're holding. Oh, you dare not. These days, gurus get slapped and shouted at. And did you hear about the guru counseling sessions they have these days? They go to psychologists. Hi, my name is Tsem Rinpoche and I'm a guru. And I have to go for counseling because I have these fears of being slapped and abused by students. It's very different than before. Very, very different. These days, Milarepa and Marpa, you know what Milarepa went through with Marpa? If Marpa was around today, he'd be arrested. He'd be arrested and put away for counseling and probably, stay in jail for many years. And then he would tell the court judge, but I'm trying to purify my students so he can be a Buddha. Yeah, right. That's it. They throw away the key. Imagine if Marpa was around today. How about Tilopa and Naropa? You guys should know about that. If Naropa was around, Naropa would be going for counseling. Tilopa would be in jail with Marpa. How are you? What you do? Think about it. So these days, if gurus dare tell students off or mention that they might be wrong, that's a biggie. What do you mean I'm wrong? I have my opinions too. And you dare not. So these days, gurus have to actually walk on glass when they teach the Dharma. You know Annie Lennox's song, Walk on Glass? That's right. So, what's very important is commitment, holding our commitment. And the ability to hold our commitment comes from knowledge and understanding of what we have. Attending Dharma talks and reading and contemplation will definitely give us knowledge of what we have. And holding our commitments, the actual act of holding our commitments and keeping them, our promises, our samayas, and which is by effort, is pure love. If you do your talk commitments, if you do your sadhana, if you do your practice in sadhanas, if you have guru devotion, it is love of what? Love of all sentient beings. Why is that? You wish, dichirdu, for this reason I wish to become a fully enlightened being, therefore I will engage in this practice. If you read any higher tantric practices, the first line is visualization, refuge. After that is generation of the body mind. Any sadhana, any tradition, definitely. So therefore, if that's so important, if we keep our commitments in sadhana, our practices, if we keep that, it is definitely love. What kind of love? Love of all sentient beings. That means you've reached that level to practice Tantra. If you say, I haven't reached that level, I'm not going to do it, you already got initiation. So you need to continue. You can't just say, oh, hi, Vajrayogini, I love you, but I'm not ready for you. See you later. Put it in the closet with the rest of yourself. You can't. And some of us, I tell you, you need to come out. And that's right. Commitment is love. Keeping effort is love. Not having effort and giving up and breaking commitment and breaking our promises to other people, whether it's high or low, is not love. It means we don't love ourselves and love others. I've explained to you why. This book's explaining to you why. This book is not about guru devotion. This book is about finding the guru within yourself. When I read this, it's not about some weird Eastern practice of devoting yourself to some weird Eastern guy from Tibet. No, I don't find that at all. If you read in between the lines and deeper, these beautiful people have wonderful experiences. And I see them as who they are, as they are, but they're mind transforming. I don't see anybody here saying, oh, I have to be Tibetan, I have to drink this, I have to eat this, I have to do this. Nothing. I see them being who they are, and that's a good trend. So I want to emphasize that this book is about effort. In the beginning, we might need a teacher to explain to us why effort is love, and love is effort. But if we are listening to this teaching and we are in our mind, we are agreeing to it, that means we are tapping into the true source of our mind. Why? You can't agree to anything you don't know. You can't agree to anything that's not the truth. And what is true is already inherent in you, according to Lord Buddha. Already inherent in you. So a teacher helps us to find the teacher within us in the beginning. To look for a teacher without a teacher in the beginning is pretty hard. That's like saying I want to be an engineer, but I don't need a teacher, a university, or books. I'm going to go under a tree and meditate. Pretty impossible. Pretty impossible, even for worldly knowledge. Now, lineage, very important. In these 5 chapters, very important. 2 is effort. Effort is very important. Not to give up. Not to give up on yourself, not to give up on others. Very important. To keep our promises, to keep our commitments. To say, to do what we're going to say. To do what we have said. Why is that important? In normal life, that's important. In spiritual practice, it's even more important. Why? You're making solemn vows to the enlightened beings. Example, when you take refuge.